shade in my mistakes and pretend it never happened. Hey guys, you're watching A Mediocre Existence, and I post videos of myself struggling to do art, and then I call it content. As always, all of these drawings have been done through the Artober challenge I did in 2024. Today's drawing is day 4, which the prompt is Badger. Today's reference photo is this one, this cute little guy. Alright, let's get started. It took me a moment to figure out the orientation of the page that fits best for him, especially because his face is kind of peeking outward. At first, I was trying out landscape, but he also has a really long body, so I switched it to portrait mode. Oh, that looks like a little piece of poo. Tried to draw the legs, but it's really dark in the photo, so I can't seem to make them out. I think his right leg is resting on the log behind the tail. I think that's what it is. When in doubt, erase all of your progress and start over. You'll figure it out eventually. And he's got a cutesy little badger belly. Gotta emphasize the belly. Hi, Zoro. What you doing, bud? Where you going? Excuse me, I'm kind of doing something, Mr. Sir. What's up, bud? Oh, don't step on the laptop! Just opened a shit ton of calculators, but we're good. Oh my god, there's so many calculators. What did you step on, sir? For context, he stepped on the calculator button on my laptop and brought on the Calpocalypse. So throughout this entire drawing process, I was really confused on the orientation of his paws. For the life of me, I couldn't figure out which paw was sticking out and which one was tucked in. Gotta be sure to include the little log he's standing on. I am unsure which paw that is, so I'm just gonna wing it. I'm just gonna guess. After drawing a bunch of gems yesterday, I'm really happy to go back to drawing creatures. Animals have more organic looking shapes that are forgiving if not drawn perfectly. I think those crystals sucked out part of my soul, and I'll never get it back. Or maybe I just need a break. Who knows? Okay, back to our little badger friend. His tail kind of bends to the right here. Of course, his paws are going to be the death of me. You think they'd be simple, but here I am, struggling again.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
I feel like I'm overthinking things already. I'm looking at his face, and I don't know if it needs to be bigger, but if I do that, his nose is gonna fall into the other page, and that'll look awkward. Just kind of bringing his entire face lower, I think. Yeah, he's just booping the side of the page at this point, which means that I can probably have his little shoulder blades angle slightly higher. They do almost line up with his leg, and that means that I'm wrong. God damn it. Okay, never mind. This is a lot harder than I thought it would be. It means I gotta make his leg a little bit smaller if I want to fit him into the page, so I think I'm just gonna go for that. I'm just gonna make him smaller. I think he's grappling on with this foot, but I also feel like he might be actually standing on it. So I'm gonna go with standing. Like in my version, he is using it to stand. I think that would make more sense because the other one is also standing. I'm just gonna leave his legs like that and get back to them. I need to keep moving on and refining him. And since I made him smaller, I pushed the log back slightly as well. Okay, so I'm gonna give him a little bit more cranium, just a tad bit more. There's also ever the slightest indent where his eye is, so I'm gonna add that in. To show the depths of his face, the three-dimensionality. And his chin goes a bit farther down, and his mouth does curve upward. I gotta be sure to add the white tufts near his ears as well. I'm looking at him and it seems like his right leg does go slightly inward. I think he's leaning a bit, so I'm gonna make him do a little lean. Oh, I just looked away and looked back and I'm like, okay, that's wrong. It doesn't look quite right. Let's see, maybe a different angle in the canvas might help. The problem is I genuinely can't tell which side each paw is at. See, it just looks wrong. It's just sticking out of nowhere, So I decided to go back to basics and draw out all the shapes in the paws, instead of trying to add the details all at once. I don't know if I like that or not. Honestly, I'm not sure. And I still don't know which side of the fucking body this paw is on, because there's this thing and I can't tell if that's like the wood or if, like, what is going on here, sir? How do your limbs work? So after wrestling with his paws over and over again, I decided, you know what? I can just change the placement of his paws for the purposes of this drawing, just to make it easier for myself and move on. And what if I give the log a shelf-looking area here, a platform for his paw to rest on? Hi Zoro, welcome back. What you doing? Do you need help? Oh, okay, he got it. I think something like that. I have a feeling his paw's a little bit too big. Looking at it, yeah, his paw's too big. God damn it. Okay, let's try to draw that again. Okay, I think that's better. I'm gonna keep it as it is for now. And I'm just adding a darker and more pronounced outline to the sketchy line art I've already done, as well as adding a few loose texture lines for the log. Apparently I don't know how to hold pencils. He's drawn on, but I think I'll make his belly protrude just a bit more. I added some fur texture to his body and added the spots where his whiskers originate. After refining a few details on his face and adding more fur, I was finally done with the pencil drawing of the badger. There he is, and as my motto is, he's not perfect, but he's drawn on the page. So it's time to start inking. Ha! Psych! I decided to add more details on his face and ears. Alright, now I'm gonna ink him. I'm going in with my roller Sharpie pen. I like using it for line art because it's dark and creates thicker strokes. I talked about this in my previous videos, but here's a little picture of what I'm trying to explain. I added some jaggedy lines to imitate his fluffy fur. My version of this badger is a little bit more rugged and fluffy around the face than the other one, but it's okay, he's kind of cute that way. And now to get the outline for the rest of his body. I'm still dying over his cute little tail. It has no right being that cute. I just want to give him a hug. He looks so huggable and fluffy. And the paws, the paws, the paws. I live for the paws. One thing I'm not really happy with this Sharpie pen is it has a difficult time actually putting down pigment if there's a bunch of graphite under it. I'm sure that's like the same for other pens, but it's kind of an annoying thing. Like, why can't physics work for me instead of against me? I'm gonna be outlining pencil. It has to go on pencil. But at least I didn't mess up the paws trying to get the pen to put pigment down. And my hands were getting pretty shaky from outlining because I was so nervous. But you know, I guess it worked in my favor because the texture of the log is actually kind of raggedy and, you know, shaky. So it's almost like it was on purpose and I know what I'm doing. Okay, I can do the rest with the office pen. This is where I realized I fucked up a bit. I made his head too big in proportion to his feet, and I love how I figured that out after I had already inked him. Just love that for me. Anyway, I decided the best method to fix it was to make his feet bigger. I was lucky that his boots were black and dark, so I can just shade in my mistakes and pretend it never happened. Just have to keep it and have him be a little whack. Okay, there are his boots. Okay, so now that my mini crisis is over, I'm gonna work on his face and make my way downtown. So I layered some fur texture on his face, and as I started going down his body, I tried working with crosshatching more, because that's all I've been doing, and I'm like, yeah, let's do that! But crosshatching is harder to do on a rounded object, at least for me, than it is on a straight object. This is an issue I have with this drawing, looking back. If I wanted to do the full crosshatching method, I should have kept the lines parallel. As you can see, I did start rounding them because I was going to the curve of his body, but then that started making them awkward because now they're not all parallel. Once I came in with the opposing hatching, the lines look awkward because they're curving away in a different angle. So you can see it actually started getting messy in the area where the hatching initially started to curve. It just looks like scribbles. It doesn't look like it's supposed to be that way. As I was starting to add more texture to his body, that's when I realized the cross-hatching mishap. Oh, I fucked up. See, I did all this harsh cross-hatching and now I'm realizing that it would have looked better if I did it more contoured around his fur. So I'm gonna try to add that in. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to fix it or not. I tried to lean into the curve and ignore the ugly cross-hatching that I had just drawn on. The hope was to blur the fur on his side to the fur in the middle, but I don't think it was very successful. It like slightly blends in, but all the lines are wonky and unparalleled. So it just looks more like scribbles. But what can you do? I'm gonna add in some darker line art to his hands and body to emphasize the fur texture. I also darkened the fluff around his ears just to emphasize it a little bit. Going back with the ballpoint pen, I started trying to add some texture to his white fur so it looked like it was part of the same creature, because otherwise it looked too flat without any form of line work or shading in there. Although it didn't go as I thought it would. I need to choose a direction for the texture of his white fur. It's pretty messy right now. It was a bit too late to fix that because the more I would add to it, the more it would be less white fur and more gray fur. So I tried to darken some of the areas around his face to create the illusion that it's still white fur by darkening the dark fur, creating that contrast. At this point, my brain was mush, and I didn't know how to fix this drawing. So I decided to work on the log instead. When in doubt, work on log. I gave it some scribbly texture and tried to add shadows in the areas that were in shadow. I went back in with a thicker pen as well, although I just kind of made it really messy. Kind of done with this drawing at this point, so I'm just improvising. I'm honestly just adding little areas of darkness here to give it the illusion of volume. It's all about the illusion. I should stop. I think I'm done. Slowly but surely, I erased the pencil marks to see what my inked badger truly looked like. There is my badger. He is there. You know, he's not perfect, but he's just chilling. Well, wasn't that a struggle? But here is a close-up of the drawing. I'd like to hear from you guys. What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? What you have done differently? I know what I would have done differently. But regardless, I hope you enjoyed my video. If you did, please give it a like and consider subscribing. I don't just do YouTube videos. I also create comics and upload them as shorts. And remember, a mediocre existence is still an existence. Bye-bye.